Hey everybody, welcome to In the Red Zone. Michael Johnson here. Today is Tuesday, November 5th, and the big news today, if you haven't heard it already, reports are indicating that Bob Stoops is going to be the next head coach at Florida State. This is coming, the latest report I read was from a local station down there. It has a lot of inside sources. I don't know if this is going to happen. I would be completely shocked if it did. I am not connected, don't have any inside sources or anything to say one way or the other. But I will say that in the mid-2000s, I covered OU as part of the media, and one of my earliest interactions with Bob Stoops is one I'll never forget, and it's the reason why I respect the guy as much as I do. And, I was a news photographer, cameraman. I'm at an OU practice. This is after Rhett Bomar had been kicked off the team. Didn't know who the quarterback was going to be for the team. All the media's down there. It's a scrum. Everybody wants to talk to coach. Everybody wants to ask about the quarterback situation. And I was by myself, and all the other media outlets had two people there, somebody to hold a microphone, somebody to hold a camera. And I'm trying to hold the camera and hold the microphone, and I just can't do it, and I was really struggling. And everybody's asking questions, and I didn't get anything. I just didn't, and I was a young guy at the time, and didn't. I walked away thinking, man, I just don't have anything. The station's going to be mad at me. And Coach Stoops looked at me and said, "You got what you needed?" I said, "Coach, I think I'll be all right. I think I got something I can use." And Coach Stoops says, "Well, fire that camera up. Let's go. I'll give you a one-on-one. Ask me whatever you need to ask me." And some other media outlets had tried to jump back in, and he pushed them away, and he did a one-on-one with me. And I'll tell you what, that was big to me, and I'll never forget that. So I'm telling you that story because I have a lot of respect for Bob Stoops, even though I don't know him personally or anything like that. But I know he's a good guy. So why am I surprised at this news, and why do I think it's not going to happen? Well, first of all, Bob Stoops is the head coach and general manager of the Dallas Renegades, of the new XFL team. He was brought in. I heard a report maybe he might be a part owner of that team. I'm not sure about that, for sure. But he's got Landry Jones down there. He's building a team down there. They just had a draft. So is he going to walk away from that? Well, the reports I read as far as this Florida State thing that says it's close to being a done deal is that he would keep Kendall Briles as offensive coordinator, and that he would groom him to become the next head coach. You have to think with Bob Stoops, I think he's 59 years old, any tenure at Florida State is not going to be a very long one. I would think it'd be 5-6 years at the most. So maybe he comes in and he sets things up, he gets things reestablished, and it is possible that he could coach at Florida State and still coach in the XFL. And the way that would work is that right after the college season, as he's preparing for the XFL season, XFL coaches could run camp while he's finishing up the season at Florida State. While he's coaching in the XFL, Kendall Briles is put in charge at Florida State to handle recruiting, run the team, things like that. So it is possible for it to happen, although probably unlikely. Bob Stoops has a home in Norman. He might have one in Dallas, I'm not sure. But, Dallas is only three hours from Norman, 2.5 hours really. So his son is a wide receiver on the OU football team, and he's played quite a bit this year. So you have to think, as a father, he wants to watch his kid play, right? Which wouldn't happen if he's coaching at Florida State. So there's that factor. He's still a little bit involved with the OU football program. He's well respected in Norman. I don't know if he wants to walk away from that. I don't know him personally, so I don't know what he's thinking. It's just all the signs are like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Why would you do this? So the other factor here, why I don't think this ultimately is going to happen, the report states that they are extremely close to a deal, that they're going to have a deal in place. But then they said the announcement could come this is a Tuesday right now. They said the announcement could come at the end of the week or next week. If you're extremely close to a deal, it's not going to take a week. And if you're Florida State and Bob Stoops is your next head coach, you're going to announce it right away. So the fact that this could still be a week out from announcement tells me they're not really that close. And that, maybe Bob Stoops is listening to what they have to say, which does not mean that he's going to take the job. I mean, maybe they called him up. Hey, coach, we have that. Well, okay, let's hear what you got to say. That doesn't mean he's going to take it. I mean, so the other factor here for Florida State, you have to think, well, why would you get rid of Taggart right now unless you have somebody lined up? And they made their athletic director had said in another report that they wanted to have a head coach in place by the end of the season. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, your options are very limited. There's only a few guys out there who have that name recognition, that can bring in the recruits, get fans excited, who isn't already coaching. One of those is Urban Meyer. I don't think it'd be a 0% chance that he would take that job. One of them is Bob Stoops. And then there's a few others out there maybe that could take it. You could get an offensive coordinator from another school to take it. I think Graham Harrell at USC is probably going to be looked at as a head coach soon, maybe starting in a group of 5. But the point being, Florida State has to have somebody in line. And if they don't have a head coach by the end of the season who can get on the trail recruiting and take care of business, I think Florida State has to look at getting rid of their athletic director, who's brand new. I mean, the guy's pretty new, but it would be a major blunder on their part to fire Taggart right now and not have somebody ready to come in. So that also leads credence to the fact, or supports the idea, that Bob Stoops could be their coach. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see. We're just going to have to wait and see if this materializes and if Bob Stoops does become the next head coach at Florida State. They are having serious issues at Florida State. If you haven't heard it, Kirk Herbstreit has said he's done with the program. He says all they want to do is fight down there. They don't. It's not like they don't care about playing football. It's like they just want to fight people. And so he paints a picture of a thug mentality at Florida State. So anybody that comes in there is going to have to put their foot down and clean house. And I really think that's hard to do if you're going to keep the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, who's part of that culture right now. I would think if you're going to clean up Florida State and get them back to prominence, you got to clean house. I mean, you need a whole new coaching staff coming in there. People who are going to put their foot down. You're not going to put up with any crap. You got to be willing to kick players off your team. Would Bob Stoops do that? I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, you look at the Joe Mixon situation in Oklahoma. It's very clear in that video. I mean, he punched that girl hard. And I'll tell you, if I was a head coach, he would not have been on that team. Stoops suspended him for a year, and then he was allowed to come back. That, to me, with the way things are at Florida State, if you have an incident like that, if you have a guy gets in trouble off the field, domestic violence, you got to kick him off the team. You can't give him a second chance. You don't have that leeway coming into a program like Florida State. I mean, you got to put your foot down, and you got to get rid of the troublemakers right away. And you need to let future recruits know, hey, it's a change of venue here, change of culture. We're not putting up with that anymore. So I don't know. That's my opinion. Like I said, I don't have any inside information other than what reports I'm reading. But again, very interesting. I'll tell you what, waking up at 7:30 this morning, and the first thing I see is an email that says, hey, Bob Stoops is going to Florida State. And I was like, what? So, yeah. But if he does decide to take the job, best of luck to him along the way. And I hope he's successful. But again, I'm very skeptical that this is going to materialize and that he's going to take that job, because just not a lot of reason for him to take it. I mean, you are completely starting from scratch. You're building down there. And with that, Florida State's not going to some group of 5 school that gets 4 wins every year and they're going to be happy with 8 wins. At Florida State, they still have aspirations of national championships. They want 10, 11 wins every year, undefeated seasons. They want to make the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, that's a program that anybody that takes it is 5 years away from really getting to that point again. So there's a lot of problems there. So anyway, that's it. Please comment. Let me know what you think. Please like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And have a great day.